My name is Andre Richards from New Zealand. I've spent the last 16 years working with coaches and athletes in performance sport. With the recent focus of athletes' mental health and well-being having greater emphasis, the following interview aims to provide insight and advice of working with young athletes. Compared to years ago, I feel that coaching is becoming more challenging and complex. This can be down to the electronic platforms and technology that make information readily available. It has both pros and cons. The information online is not always correct. Sometimes it's quite inaccurate. From a personal experience, I feel athletes have many options. They must be given positive experiences, and through positive reinforcement and also encouragement on what they're doing well, focus less on the negative and keep them updated regularly on how their training's going and how their performances are going. It's really important that the athletes have strong support systems during their time in the program and especially when they're staying away from home, through coaches, sports science, sports associations, teachers, parents, friends. This could contribute emotional support, family and education, as well as financial support. Regular and transparent communication should be a must, and always provide guidelines and encouragement towards their training, and always check on their well-being. Firstly, I think with coaching, it's been a little bit of a taboo to talk about mental health. For some reason, athletes, coaches have been reluctant to talk about mental health. I think that kind of comes down to a perception that talking about mental health shows us kind of a weakness. But I think young athletes should also be taught that mental health is linked to habits and making sure they create good habits. And don't also always assume that young athletes are well within themselves. So regularly kind of talk to them about their career pathway, future direction, and how they see their futures, and try to get a little bit of background at the start about their family and what they're kind of thinking. So you kind of make a point to get to know them. We've got to treat all athletes the same, maintain strong boundaries, provide no favoritism, make sure that you always try to stay fair to each and every athlete. Maintain honesty and integrity is a big part of what I do as a coach. Always have boundaries. I know that in some programs in the past, coaches and athletes have had relationships, and I don't think that's healthy for the environment, and it's not professional. And create an environment that it's okay to talk anytime. On that, in a recent program I was working on, 50% of the athletes left the program. There were instances where they left the program due to financial pressures. They left the program due to not being happy with the transparency of the organisations they were working under, not being allowed to know what the status was within their program. Many parents had taken out the athletes out of the program because there was no financial security or no security of whether they were in the program or out of the program. And the resources have become a lot less in performance sport throughout the world. And I think that was a case of where I was also working. And so we had less athletes in the program. Really good thing for athletes to speak out, as I think this is a way for them to release. I often sometimes think that when they do speak out, it can be used as a ploy for masking their poor performances though. So we have to also watch that. It can be a way of using a loss of form or something blamed on media and stuff like that. I do think athletes have to take ownership of their performances. A lot of the very, very top professional athletes do take ownership of their performance. They don't blame things, even if it was something that they could control or couldn't control. And in many instances, the public don't truly understand what goes on behind the closed doors. A lot of the time during interviews with media, and a lot of the times during public outings, the media only see what the athlete's like. And it's very different to seeing them in everyday training. Well, one of the first things I'd tell them is never be afraid to communicate your struggles, never be afraid to speak out, because it's no longer taboo. Control parts of your lives that you can, control parts of the life that you can during your training and recovery and stuff. Try not to become a social media slave. I find with the young athletes these days, they really are highly impacted by what their opinion is and what their footprint is on social media, about how many likes they have or how many people they have following them. I find that really does have a big impact these days, and they really get down depression and anxiety when they find that they're not liked, or someone's unliked them or unfriended them or something like that. So that's something we have to look to really control. Regularly set and reevaluate their goals to keep their motivation, give them direction in their professional and their sporting life, because they've got a lot of time on their hands, so they might want to do re-education or something like that. Create routines and focus on performance processes, and don't put too much pressure on themselves. And last and foremost, have fun and enjoy what they do. Thank you for watching my interview today. Hopefully you gained some insight and some ideas about your training with the athletes, the young athletes, and take care, look after each other, and stay safe.